Second run for men's singles about to come up from the 53rd FIL Luge World Championships. We're in beautiful Whistler, British Columbia. Earlier, it was run number 1 of the men's singles. Felix Locke looking for history here. He's in 3rd place right now. Any podium for Felix would put him all time in the lead. It would be his 11th podium. But he's got 2 people he's trying to catch, including Austria's Nico Gleiche, and then the man to beat, Max Langenhahn of Germany. Gleiche and Langenhahn have been the 2 best all season long on the World Cup, and so it's no surprise they're leading the way here at the World Championships. Hi again, everyone. A beautiful day, as always, here in Whistler, British Columbia. We have the team relay coming up a little later on this afternoon to conclude all of the action here at these World Championships. It's been beautiful weather, just below freezing still. The track has been fast. No track records so far today, but we have seen some track records fall throughout the weekend. So we're getting set for the second and final run. As you see, that track record by Locke and Johannes Ludwig with a 12-year-old start record. As we get ready to give you a closer look at this track, I'm pleased to introduce once again my co-commentator from Team Austria, the 2024 world champion, Lisa Schulte. So Lisa, what was your main takeaway from run number 1?
I was really surprised that it's still a close race, which I kind of didn't expect. I thought maybe people wouldn't get so close to Max Langenhahn, but they did, especially Nico and Felix, so I think it's going to be a really exciting second run here.
So we take another close look at this track. They start near the top. There was an older, higher start prior to the 22 Olympic Games, but it is tough from the start. It almost reminds me a little bit of a mix between Oberhof and, say, Altenburg. There's no Kreisel, but you have these tight turns up top, and then you have some open spaces down below. Not that straight, though.
Yeah, that's where you really gain the speed as soon as the curves open up, and then it also gets really steep. That's where you get really fast. So in the upper curves, you're still kind of slow, trying to get on line. You shouldn't make any mistakes up here. It will really cost you a lot of time. And then going into curve 7, which is a really long open curve, onto the straight, which is a corner, but basically it's not a corner, and then into 10, and then this is 11, and now next curve is the 50-50, and 13, 14, and 15 into the Thunderbird, which you can still lose a lot of time down there. That's maybe where we'll see some excitements today.
So we have 20 sleds getting ready to determine who will win this year's World Championships. This is the 6th time, or the 5th rather, that the World Championships have been held here in Canada. The 2nd in Whistler, with the first 3 in Calgary. And some great names over the years are among those World Championships, including Georg Hackl, Gerda Weichensteiner, and one of our viewers today, Wendell Suko, who captured the USA's first ever World Championship. That was in Calgary in 1993. They will count them down to Max Langenhahn. And Lisa, again, looking at those split times, you're seeing the close battle for 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th place. And maybe Nico is the only one with a shot at Max?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think it's going to be exciting between 1st and 2nd place, and then from 2nd place all the way to from the 3rd place all the way to, I think, 6th place. There could be, or even further, there could be some mix-up here. But yeah, I think everybody has to do a clean run to maintain their position or even get better.
So we get ready for run number 2. Thanks so much for tuning in around the world on our YouTube channel. The chat is fast and furious, as it has been all weekend long. I think we counted up to 21 different nations of people weighing in that they're watching the action today. And things will open up a little bit of age before beauty, because Josef Ninnis is pondering his 2nd run here in Whistler, 43 years young. Lisa, Josef's first Olympics Italy, 2006. What were you doing then?
I was in kindergarten, I believe.
Okay.
I had no idea that luge existed at that time.
You know what they call kindergarten in the United States?
No.
Kindergarten.
Yeah, it's the same word.
Exactly. Dennis off and on his way. 4 strong paddles. Run number 2 of the World Championships underway. This is 2 runs, a combined time competition. So the clock you see on the lower right, that's added on from Josef's first run time of 50.686.
And I think since it's getting a little warmer outside, maybe the track is getting even faster because the sun is shining on the ice. And I think we'll see some good times here. And he's doing a great job so far. Looking good and comfortable on the sled.
In his long 22-year career on the World Cup, Josef has 1 World Cup podium. That was back in 2018 in Sigulda, Latvia, where the Ukrainians fare very well on a track that gives so many other nations trouble. To the finish. 50.813. That's about, what, 1,500 slower than his
Yes,
first
that
run?
was 1,500 slower than the first run. He had a really late entrance into 16, but he did a good job correcting it in the curve, so he didn't hit the walls out of 16.
Again, it's so tough to pick up exactly what some of these corners are. I know the key areas are curve 9, and then right up to the end, that Thunderbird curve, 16. You athletes know numbers, but some of these tracks have characteristic names.
Yes.
You do know 50-50 here.
We all know 50-50 here because it's just, yeah, we have a 50-50 chance of getting out there.
That's the curve, curves 12 and 13, the 50-50. Here's our good friend Leon Felderer. Our thanks, as always, to Leon for doing some commentary yesterday. The 25-year-old from Lats Fons, Northern Italy, now on course for 4 hard paddles and a pretty smooth settle.
Yeah, it looked like a solid start. Maybe it's a lot faster than the first start. It's about 500 faster than the first start, which is great because you need a fast start so you can keep up in the track.
Leon was in here doing the commentary yesterday when we had Max Langenhahn as a guest, and I asked Max what the keys were to handling this track, and no one was listening more closely than Leon to try to get some tips from the master.
I believe that. Oh, that was really early onto 12, but he did a good thing correcting it. But he's losing some time there, but having a smooth transition into 16 and getting out great. But really close right there.
That's about the differential they had in run number 1. So you see Josef hold his fingers up knowing how tight that was. The two of them had basically a neck-and-neck competition here to start run number 2.
They did. Leon had quite a good advantage in the upper part of the track, but due to his mistakes and maybe also some sled work, he just lost almost all of it, but he still could maintain his spot, but I don't think he's happy with it.
Now the first of the 4 Germans, and if you have missed the coverage over the weekend here from Whistler, shame on you because you've missed some great action, but you also missed a study of courage by this young man from Oberhof. David broke his leg in Altenburg 4 weeks ago, took 2 weeks off, but came back here for the World Championships and then hit hard on the wall on the finish curve. Did everything he could, Lisa, to keep his foot safe. But that had to be scary, and here he is now racing 2 days later.
Yes, and I think it's really hard for him to have a straight line on the start, since it must hurt to kick into the Kuvens at the start. And now he's already in the red behind Leon, but I think with a clean run he might get back into the green. And he already is back into the green.
Yeah, we saw him pick up a lot of time on the bottom part of the track in run number 1. Whistler, 23 years old, in his 3rd year on the senior team.
Yes, he's having a good run so far, looking really smooth and clean with a good position on the sled and a great exit of 16.
Big advantage over Felderer in the early going, and it's key for David Nussler. One reason, of course, why he's taking part in these World Championships is Germany can have up to 3 athletes at the Olympics next year, and basically you got to figure David and Timon are battling for that 3rd spot.
They do, yeah. It's. I think the qualifications will start next year. I'm not so sure. I just know about Austria that we will do it next year. And I think that's when it's really getting serious.
Yeah, there will be a lot of drama in the hotel rooms in January when we're on the World Cup.
Probably, yes.
Casper's rinks slid on in, literally and figuratively, as the final sled to come down in run number 1, bumping off an Italian who was sitting in 20th place, as Casper's had a 17th place run and made it into the 2nd heat. So now the Latvian grabbing the handles, coming off of a time of 50.62. He crashed 3 days ago in the final day of training before the mixed singles.
Well, here goes Latvia. It's Kaspar's rinks. 21-year-old Kaspar's rinks. From the back of the pack, managed to get.
He's not the fastest starter, but he's still young and probably will improve his start a lot by the time. But he's already losing some time on David. And I think it's going to be hard for him to keep up since David had a really clean run. But the Latvians, like Gins, can be fast today, so maybe we'll see him get back into the green.
Well, 300s, he hasn't lost any more time, but it's going to be a challenge for him to gain time. He's been pretty steady with Nussler down here at the bottom of the track.
Yes, and he's showing a really clean run right there.
That was remarkable how close those 2 sleds were. The split differentials from each interval, rinks to Nussler, were 300s back, 300s back, 300s back, and then in the end, 400s back.
Making a couple of little mistakes in the top there. The front section, very cool. Very calm, collected. Really keeping his cool from 13 to 14 to 7.
2 Ukrainians have made it into run number 2. That is great for that nation. The first getting ready in just a moment. So these are the 2025 World Championships. Again, recapping one last time last year's World Championships. Max Langenhahn was the winner in the men's singles competition. Lisa Schulte, my broadcast partner, took the women's title. The Austrian team of Gott and Schuff took men's doubles, and Egla Kipp were the winners in the women's doubles, as they did successfully defending yesterday. Here we go. Andre Mansi. He's got 400s to play with. Lisa, you and I talked about this right before we came on the air. We thought there would be a good chance Nussler could pick off a few the next 3 or 4, but Rinks made it close just a moment ago.
Yes, so I think also Mansi, with a clean run, he could be staying in the green. And so far it looks like a good run, and he's still in the green by 2/10 of a second right now.
Terrific showing for Ukraine this year. Nothing spectacular, but everything very respectable for the Ukrainians. Mansi, Dukash, some of the women, Tanitska has had some good results. So to the finish line, he loses just a little bit, about 700s to Nussler. But that surprises me a little bit that he holds on to his spot. So Andre Mansi finished 15th last year at the World Championships, and he could conceivably end up in the top 15 once again this season.
Yes, I believe in the first run he might have some small mistakes, so maybe if he cleaned them up, that's why he still got faster than David in this run. And they've already shown this season that they can be so fast in the track, so it's great.
You don't see this at every track, but it's nice to have this helper for all of the athletes to, if they want it, they can grab onto someone.
Yes.
Slippery ice here at the finish line. Matthias Sokovic had a very impressive start time in run number 1. In the end, I believe it was the 4th or 5th fastest start time. So now the athlete from Poland, 1 paddle, 2 paddle, 3 paddles, and 4. A pretty smooth settle.
Yes, he's a really strong starter.
Fastest so far here early in run number 2. This World Championship was originally scheduled for 2021, 4 years ago, but was canceled or postponed at least due to the pandemic. Were you on the national team then? Yeah, you had been since about 2019.
Yes. Yeah, I think it was in Königssee.
Yeah, it was moved to Königssee, and it became a bit of a Bavarian festival. But now to the finish from Team Poland, Maciej Sokovic. Most of that activity happened just before and after the finish line, so he didn't lose a lot of time. But nonetheless, he's well in back of Matthias, or of Andre Manzi.
Yes, he lost quite some time over the whole track. And I think that shows that Manzi had a really good run, and that also his sled is good for this ice conditions, I would say. But he did show a solid run, maybe a bit late to some curves, but no major mistakes except hitting the wall right there, which shouldn't cost more than maybe 500ths of a second. But these walls, they hurt.
Yes,
I felt it yesterday as well, so.
These walls, they hurt. That's a good quote. 14th after run number 1, Timon Grancagnolo. Now for him to win the under-23 World Championship, he'll need to hold his spot now and then wait and see what Gins Derzic does a little later on. He's quite a few spots behind the Latvian. Timon, 21 years old. He's from the Altenburg, Saxony, Dresden region of Germany. Falling behind Ukraine.
Yes, his start looked better, and he was also 300ths faster than in the first run. But maybe he'll find some speed down the track.
Yeah, Nussler did.
So far it's looking really good and smooth, and he's already gaining some time again on Manzi.
Let's see, 400ths, and now the next interval, it is in the green.
Back in the green.
He picks up almost a 1/10 of a second, 4 or 5 curves.
Yeah.
So
that was a bit too late into 16, but he just managed it fine and found some good speed.
good run for Timon Grancagnolo of Germany. He finished 10th at the World Championships last year on his home track, and now he'll look at least for a guaranteed top 14 and maybe move up a couple of spots. Lisa, we had one writer on our YouTube chat. They had the question of luge, skeleton, and bobsleigh, which is the fastest sport?
It's luge. Luge is the fastest sport on ice. I think there's bobsleigh is probably in second and skeleton in third. But it's kind of close. But still, luge is the fastest sport on ice.
Yeah, and I can vouch for Lisa on that. She's just not talking about that as a proud luger, but I've seen the speeds, I've seen the studies. Skeleton the slowest, in no small part because they do the most hitting of walls. Another thing about luge, as we see Anton Dukash, is there is no groove in the ice at the start. You have the groove in bobsled and skeleton, which helps you keep the sled in place. All of you lugers, you need to keep it down the center on your own.
Yes, that's true. That's why you also need a lot of core strength at the start to stay stable while pedaling. And that's also why sometimes people hit at the start, because there's no groove to be in, which gives you the safety to start out straight.
Anton finished 12th at last year's World Championships. He's in 13th here after run number 1, so he needs to stay in the grain. Hope for a little help from the next few athletes to have perhaps his best ever World Championship result.
He's losing some time on Timon, and Timon, oh wow, that was a big hit before 16. That will cost him a lot of time.
And a lot of places as he falls back 3 spots, all because of the last 2 or 3 curves. In fact, Lisa, he's just lucky he stayed just below the lip, that top wall on curve number 16.
Yes, that could really hurt if you hit that wall. Luckily, we haven't seen any major crashes.
No. I mean, last year, I recall during training, the Latvian women's doubles team had a bad crash right down there. They were knocked out of the race that weekend.
Yes, they did. We were in the same trainings group with them, and there was even a really long break back there. So we for the safety material we have on our body, we are really lucky that nothing more happens and that we all probably learned how to crash really early in our careers.
Tucker West, 4th place finisher last year at the World Championships, only 0.06 of a second off the podium for the U.S. Still looking for his first ever World Championship podium in men's singles. He has several podium finishes as part of the USA team relay squad. Tucker's start time was the fastest, 7.01.
Yes, and I think he wasn't quite happy with his speed in the first run. So maybe they changed something on the sled. And now he has a really big advantage in front of Timon. Also because of the start, because he's a really strong starter. And also the lines are looking really good and solid right now. But he's starting to lose time on Timon.
He is.
But I think it could be enough, since the track is short, to keep his spot.
And he does, giving up all sorts of time in the last 5 or 6 curves, and you can see it in his face. And I'm sorry to say that we've seen this a lot from Tucker with the shake of the head, but he will finish for the day, maybe take part in the relay, still we'll find out. But his parents, his wife Rachel, are all here in Whistler too to help celebrate the World Championships.
Yes, he just seemed really frustrated with his speed and his time. And maybe there was a small mistake which I haven't seen before, but nothing too major which should cost that much time.
That's it.
That's it.
It's over.
His teammate Johnny Gustaf still to come in 3 sleds from now, but all eyes to the top. Alex Ferlazzo. Alex in 11th place, looking for a spot in the top 10 for the 2nd year in a row at the World Championships here on his home track. He trains with the Canadians on a sled designed and upkept by Duncan Kennedy, a 3-time American Olympian.
Yes, he had a little wobbly of a start right there, but he could manage without hitting any walls. And I think he just really wants to be really fast and showing off, since he had really great trainings all season, but he couldn't really manage showing it off in the races so far. And he starts gaining some speed on Tucker right there. And it looks like a really solid run so far. Nice entrance into 16. And a really clean exit. So
terrific finish to the weekend for Alex Ferlazzo, who of course will not be part of Team Relay, as he is a one-man nation in the sport of luge. That time of 50.26, how did that compare to his first run?
it's almost 2/10 faster than his first run, which he wasn't really happy with. So I think now he seemed really happy with his run. So maybe he'll get to climb up some spots.
Yeah, that would have put him in 6th place in the first run, and a lot closer to that 5th place result he had, that impressive showing last year at the World Championship. Good way to end it. Alex will head to the final 2 World Cup events in Pyeongchang, South Korea, as well as Yangjing, Beijing, China, over the next 2 weeks. World Championships continue now with the top 10. I'm Tim Singer, along with 2024 World Luge Champion Lisa Schulte of Team Austria. Here is the first of 2 Latvians in the top 10. Kristers Aparios, bronze medal last year at the Worlds. Oh no, actually here in Whistler at the World Cup. A crash, unfortunately, at the Worlds in Altenburg.
And it's a really close race between Kristers and Ferlazzo right now. They've just been, I think, 9,000s apart. And now Kristers is in the green.
And you've been impressed by the speed of the Latvian sleds so far on this day. That hasn't been the case all weekend.
Yeah, that's true. And I'm excited to see how Kristers will do, especially since Alex was much faster than in his first run. But so far he's showing off a good run right there. Maybe a bit early onto 12, but making a good job right there. And he's building his advantage. A little late to 16.
but he will hold his spot in the top 10, opening up more on the Australian all the way down the track. So with 9 remaining, here are the standings. Latvia's Aparijots in first place, followed by Ferlazo of Australia, Tucker West in third place for the USA, then Germany and Ukraine complete the top 5.
Yeah, he had a good run right there, showing that he can really slide well here. And I think, yeah, he's not entirely happy with his performance though.
Here's Johnny Gustafsson, who 3 days ago won the qualifying race to determine the start order here. Johnny also on the World Championship podium 2 days ago in mixed singles with Emily Sweeney, the final athlete from the USA. And Lisa, this is without a doubt the biggest event in sports in the United States today. Would you agree? There's that other thing, the Super Bowl, but I think this is
Luge is much more important.
Exactly. Johnny with the 3rd fastest start time so far here in run number 2. Let's see what this lead is. Only 0.03 of a second, and Aparijots was fast down below.
He was, but also the Americans showed already that they can be really fast here. He's losing 100 by 100 right now, so it's going to be a really close race, and he can't do any mistakes if he wants to stay in the green. Oh,
tied to the 1,000th of a second now, and just like that, trending into the red. Will it still be second place? It was a very shaky exit of corner 13. It is a top 2 right now, so dropping just 1 spot. Johnny will remain in the top 10, but just barely.
he has a really great position on the sled right there. Having good lines. Just a little wobbly exit out of 16 right in the finish, which may have cost him this spot.
Final of the Americans. Johnny will likely be in the team relay later this afternoon, and the United States probably one of the favorites to at least win bronze, probably in a little bit of a battle with Italy and Latvia. But anything happens in the relay. We learned that in Sigulda.
Yeah, we did. It's the most exciting race of the weekend, I would say.
Wolfie Kindle had a disappointing 22nd place finish last year at the World Championships on a weekend where Austria did everything it could to spoil the German party. But Wolfie has some great credentials, including a World Championship on his home track in Eagles back in 2017, and coming off of an Olympic silver medal 2 years ago, or 3 years ago now, in Beijing.
And just after the start, he's already in the red because Aparijots had a good start, but maybe we all know Wolfie can be really fast in the track, so maybe he'll find the speed and get back into the green with a good run. And so far it's looking really good, but he still keeps losing a little bit of time.
Short, stocky athlete who has been known for his great drive lines throughout his career, and Wolfie actually has done a great job improving his starts over the last 5 or 6 years. Now 36 years old, to the finish in 3rd place behind Aparijots and Gustafsson. It will be a top 10 for Wolfgang Kindl. That's a regular occurrence for him in any race, but probably a disappointing result compared to some of his best finishes.
Yes, I think he won't be entirely satisfied with this. He's a really hard-working athlete and always wants to be on top.
Aside from his World Championship and his Olympic silver, he has 3 bronze medals at other World Championship races. If you're keeping track, these are the 53rd Luge World Championships. The first ever were held in 1955 in Oslo, Norway, and they don't hold the Worlds every year, but they generally do every season when there is not an Olympic Games. Speaking of the Olympics, I'm not sure what you were doing when this man won gold in 2018, Lisa, but I think it's safe to say it was a surprise to about 99% of the luge world.
Yes, it was. I believe he'd never won a World Cup before that race, or wasn't even on the podium.
Never had been on the podium.
So that's a big surprise. he's always, whenever there are big events, you have to count David in because he's always there to hop on the podium.
2 years later at the World Championships in Sochi, David was actually in first place after run number 1 before having a crash in the second heat. So that just shows you how things can be given and taken away pretty quickly in this sport.
Yes, and then it seems like he can't keep up with Christos, who had a really good run and really found some speed down the track. So he'll have to try stay in second place, I think.
800s back in third place, so Johnny Gustafson rides up the elevator, but no one more so than that man, Christos Aprios, who began the run in 10th place, and now he has the potential for a top 6, which gets you not onto the podium, but into the award ceremony. Were you 6th at the Olympic Games?
I was 6th at the Olympic Games, yeah.
But at the Olympics, they only do a top 3.
Only the medal counts at the Olympics.
One Latvian out in front. Boy, does he look calm. His teammate and fellow youth Olympic gold medalist, Gins Berzic, 6th place as he grabs those handles with a 700ths advantage over his older and more experienced teammate. Gins finished 11th last year at the World Championship.
Here goes 22 years old.
Anything, by the way, in the top 7 here will give him the under 23 World Championship title in this race within a race here in Whistler.
Yes, and he was 200s fast at the start already, so I feel like he really wants to stay in front of Christos right now and get the top 6 for the world champion. And he's having a solid run so far.
Losing time now.
A little bit, yeah. I think it's going to be hard.
He hasn't done a lot of runs here in Whistler. And now this is going to be very tight. I give the advantage to Aprios, but he's coming close to the finish line. 5 thousandths of a second separating the 2 Latvians right now in first and second. And Christos Aprios, a 5-time winner on the World Cup, has now moved 1 spot closer to the podium here at the World Championship.
They are pretty good friends, I think, so they are both happy for each other. But 5 thousandths of a second, it's like nothing, and you can find it everywhere in any run.
Well, unlike some of the other big nations in this sport, such as yours, Austria, and of course Germany and the USA, basically all of the Latvians live in the same area. So they have the opportunity to spend time year-round. Yeah, Christos can give a shake of the head to his friend and teammate, a little bit of an applause. He's still in first. And now the Olympic bronze medalist, Dominik Fischneller, finished 18th last year at the World Championship, and that was after being in podium position in run number 1. He was in the top 3. Dominik has 1 bronze medal in his World Championship career, and more importantly, 1 bronze medal in his Olympic career.
Yes, he's a great slider. He always has really good lines. He's a strong starter. So I think he can keep up with Christos. He just looks so comfortable on his sled and sliding.
Dominik from the South Tyrol region of northern Italy, which actually isn't that far from your home in the Innsbruck area. And until this track in Cortina, Italy is complete, for years Innsbruck has been the Italians' home track.
Yes, that's true, and I think it's gonna be close, but oh, it's not even close. I saw it wrong before.
So a time of 50.087 for Dominik. That would have put him just behind Nico Glacia into 3rd place in run number 1 by a 1,000th of a second, right?
Yes, I believe maybe we will see some times under 50 this run, because I believe the track might get a bit faster what we've seen so far, but also these athletes have shown great runs, so I'm not sure if the others will improve their times or if it's just getting even closer than before.
The sun hasn't set yet here in Western Canada, but it has dipped behind the mountains, so things are notably cooler here. Jonas Müller, a very good World Championship record. He captured the world title in Germany 2 years ago on the track in Oberhof. Jonas also with a silver medal at the World Championships, and now the Austrian, the second to last from Austria, grabs those handles. He's 27 years old. He's from the town of Bludenz in far western Austria, where the second of the two Austrian luge tracks was completed about 3 years ago. Bludenz has produced some World Championship medals. It's not all Tyrol, right? It's the Stoys from Bludenz as well.
Yeah, that's true. We have these two spots in Austria, and once again he showed a really great start time. It was the fastest so far this run. But his advantage is just 600ths of a second, and he needs a really clean run so he can keep up with Dominic.
This will be a telling split time, 300ths now. And some of his victories this year on the World Cup, Jonas opened it up down below. That's not happening here in Whistler. But it's still close.
It's really close. So oh, that was really late. Almost like David, and that's going to cost him some more hundredths of a second right there.
Finishes in second place, and you see the look on his face. He had a very legitimate shot of really moving out ahead of Fischneller down there in the lower part of the track. Needed to be perfect, wasn't.
Yes, that's just when you get a bit frustrated in the finish, when you knew you could be fast, and it's just this little mistake so close to the finish, which costs you that time. But otherwise, his run looked really smooth and solid.
So Jonas Müller in second place, Dominic Fischneller of Italy leading the way, and it is time to talk podium at these 53rd World Championships. We're down to our final three, and one of the short list of 5 or 6 greatest lugers in the history of the sport is grabbing those handles with authority, with a podium finish of any kind here at the World Championships. Felix Lach of Germany will be the winningest athlete in the history of this sport. George Hackl of Germany has 11 podiums, so he would tie that. With a victory, Felix would move past Armin Zugler all time with the 7th World Championship. First things first, he's out of the gate with the 4th fastest start time and a split time that's already 0.2 of a second up on Italy.
Yes, he's really showing off right now. Great position on the sled, great line so far. I think he really wants to achieve that goal.
Felix has been quietly in the background most of this season. 2 podiums, no victories, but he, like his mentor Hackl, saves a lot of the best for the big events. Look at that. You were right, Lisa. A sub 50 and by a full 1/10 of a second, 49.9. That would have been by far a first place time in run number 1. Felix Lach, the 2-time Olympic gold medalist, through and probably putting the pressure on the next 2.
Yes, they probably seen his time, and now they know, because Felix, over the past races, he always really showed off in the second run. He likes hunting the others, I feel like, and he really showed a really good run.
For sure. We have seen a lot of World Cup races over the years where he came back not from 3rd, but sometimes from 7th or 8th place to end up, if not with the win, at least on the podium.
Exactly, and yes, he looks really happy.
That's a happy husband, father, and Olympic champion. His career is still going strong at age 35. Now Nico Glacia, the last hope for a non-German to win a world championship here. Nico has had a terrific World Cup year with 2 victories, several other podiums. Nico still looking for his first big breakthrough in a major competition, World Championship or Olympics. So any podium position here would be big.
His start was a bit slower than in the first run. And since they're so close, him and Felix, he's already in the red. And now it's going to be really interesting if he can keep up with Felix or not. But so far his run is looking clean.
Felix was just incredible a moment ago with no mistakes, just building speed the entire way. This is close. 700s is surmountable from what we've seen from Austria over the last season or so. How are these lines?
The lines looks fine. Not as smooth as Felix's lines though, but I think it's going to be second place. Oh, hitting the wall.
It is second, so celebration for Germany as they capture another gold medal here at the World Championships. That will be their 4th gold, their 10th and possibly 11th overall medal coming up. Austria and Nico Gleiche, a podium position, so that is worth a fist pump for Nico. His brother had the glory at the Olympics. His father, World Cup winner as well, but now Nico on the podium. Great to see.
Yeah, he's just showing off the consistency he's been showing all season, which is great. And I'm really happy for him being on the podium. And now I'm really excited to see what Max will do after Felix's time.
Max Langenhahn getting ready at the top. Felix right there is the leader. All sorts of history at stake for Felix Lach down below. Felix has already captured his record-tying 11th podium at the World Championships. But if he hangs on to his spot, it will be a record-breaking 7th World Championship, moving one ahead of Armin Zugler. Standing in his way, nothing short of the best luger in the world right now, Felix's friend and his protege, Max Langenhahn.
With a good start time, and now we will see, maybe even after the first split time, in which direction this race will go. And he has a 600s advantage.
Max is the defending world champion. He's also the current leader on the World Cup points. He's certainly the best. He's not gaining on Felix, and Felix was very fast down here at the bottom of the track. This is going to tell us a lot right here.
Oh, now he starts gaining some speed. He's really having a really clean run into 16 right there. Really having a nice exit, and I think that should be enough to be world champion once again.
Max Langenhahn, Mr. Cool, is once again Mr. Perfect. Felix wasn't there at the podium because, as is always the case, he is Max's biggest cheerleader, and he is the first to greet his World Championship teammate down here at the bottom. Germany 1-2 with Austria in 3rd place here at the World Championships in Whistler. It's the same story, Lisa, every week where Max wins the race, but Felix is more excited.
Yes, Felix is always cheering him on. And there you can see Max's position on the sled is just so great and so aerodynamic. And it's really good to see that if your teammates are cheering for you and are there for you, celebrating with you together, it's just more fun.
Max Langenhahn, only 25 years old, and really didn't join the World Cup until about 3 seasons ago, but already he's got close to 24 World Cup wins. Now he has 2 World Championships and a silver medal. As we see a little replay of the German coaching staff, George Hackel and Peter on the left there for Team Austria.
And right before you could see his sister, I think she's his biggest fan.
Max's family.
And his girlfriend is also here. Yep. It's great to see.
Family has all come over. What a great, great moment for Germany. That's Gerhard Gleicher, Nico's father, congratulating the German on his World Championship. And lest we forget, he did this all having broken his foot not too long ago, right?
Yes, I think over the Christmas break he did break his foot or something. I don't know, foot or
some bones.
Toe, something is broken.
Well, nothing's broken in his performance that we know. Germany, Austria, the Italians in 4th. Dominic just on the outside looking in. Jonas Müller puts another Austrian in the top 5, followed by the Latvians and the United States to complete the top 8. And all of these racers who successfully finished here at the 53rd World Championships. So they will pass out the stuffed animals here in a moment to the podium finishers. Later today, there will be an award ceremony for all of the top 6. Max still hugs all around for the German coaches. His friend Natalie Mogg was there trackside. Diana Eitberger, who made some history yesterday with her podium finish in women's doubles. Tony Agert, a fellow Thuringian who himself has 5 world championships, and his former coach and Felix's father, Norbert Locke. The FIL's Thomas Schwab also there, and now he'll greet his fellow podium finishers. So Einar's passing out the stuffed animals. Einar's Fogalis, the president of the International Luge Federation. And again, we just need to repeat for Felix Locke, who ended up in 2nd place today. He moves into a tie with Georges Hackl, all-time 11 podiums. You can only hope, right, Lisa? For 11 podiums at the World Championships.
If I will slide that long, I can only hope for that. But it's great to see these guys on the podium. It's the same, probably these 3 have been on the podium for the last races, and it's fun to see that they are in there together. And the first thing they talk about is their how they did slide and analyzing it together. And I'm a bit jealous that now they have a world champion bib.
Written on there.
Yes,
right.
I'm a bit jealous of that.
But you proudly wore the world championship bib for the past 12 years or 12 months.
12 months,
and you get to keep it, right?
Yes, you do, and that's great. It's bearing great memories and everything, so.
Well, it really is true to form, because Max, Nico, and Felix are the top 3 in the World Cup points this year. Along with Jonas Mueller, they have all of the wins in the World Cup races. So no really big shocks or surprises here. The best stayed among the best. So we hope to hear from some interviews in just a moment or two. Everyone among the top 3, despite being from Germany or Austria, had family travel from Europe to witness their sons win World Championship battles. 3rd place to Nico Gleicha of Austria, his first ever World Championship podium. 2nd to Felix Locke, his 11th podium, to go along with 2 at the Olympic Games and a 3rd gold medal in Olympic relay. But the gold to Max Langenhahn, and until otherwise noticed, Max remains the best in the world.
Seeing some emotion in Max's face is
Team
also
Austria,
great.
congratulations. You medaled last year in Altenburg, and you've medaled this year. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Yeah, the second run was not so good than the first, but yeah, I'm happy with the medal. And yeah, it's awesome.
Amazing, congratulations.
Thank you.
So congratulations to Nico Gleicha, traveling all the way to Whistler, ending up on the podium, and he'll have a chance for another podium in just a little bit, as he will join a very strong team with the Egla sisters and Laura and Stoy and Kindle, as they will look for a world championship.
Felix Locke with Team Germany, congratulations today. I loved the reaction with Max at the end. What's it like going 1-2 with your teammate?
Yeah, it's perfect. It can be better. So Max is winning today. I'm in the 2nd place. Yeah, it's, I think for the whole team, excellent weekend. It was a great season until now, and today's 1 and 2. Yeah, perfect.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I've said it a lot this weekend, but for Felix Locke, showing this delight for his teammates just shows how much more harmony there is in the Germany program than there was in years past. And with harmony comes success, and the win to Max Langenhahn.
All right, Max Langenhahn with Team Germany. We were just talking. You're back-to-back world champion. Did you ever imagine this for your career?
Never ever. I was so fucking impressed by the time of Felix in the 2nd run, and I was like, oh, come on, he's bringing me under pressure. But in the end, I'm super happy. 1 and 2, I think for the team, it's the best compliment for them all, putting so much energy the whole season. So I'm super happy to give them something back.
Congratulations on your season and back-to-back world champion. Look at this bib. It looks great.
And you heard it from the world champion. He was so darn impressed with the others, but happy about his world championship. And our thanks to Kate Hansen, 2014 Olympian and FIL studio host, for the interviews down there at the finish. Watch Kate's features throughout the world championship weekend. She's got some great stories on the FIL Instagram channel. So all that remains is team relay. And Lisa Schulte, how do you call it?
It's been a great race, I would say.
Germany favorite?
I would say Germany is the favorite, but Austria, Latvia, it's really strong. It's gonna be a close race, I believe. There's no room for any mistakes, so stay tuned.
Great. Thanks so much, Lisa. I appreciate all the great job doing commentary, and for Lisa and Kate and our entire FIL crew. Congratulations to world champion Max Langenhahn. I'm Tim Singer. We'll see you next time from Whistler.